Have you ever wondered how to visualize a whole lot of medical data, for example, blood pressure data in R? Well, I have the answer for you, and I'm going to show you right now. So a very warm welcome back on my channel here in our little mini series on R, and we are going to head right to my screen. And as you can see, we are in a file called scatter, and it's very similar, as you can already tell from the other blood pressure data we had in our mini series. If you haven't watched it already, the part 1 to until 3 is out there. Make sure to check it out. And this one is a little bonus episode where I'm going to show you the library called BP, which is specifically designed for blood pressure data in a quite big quantity. And we are going to create a little plot here, or to visualize a lot of blood pressure data. And as you can see here, we have our BP data again, which is the same blood pressure data we used for the first 3 episodes. So we start right off by, of course, creating or loading the library BP, and then we can actually run the first section of the code. If we do that, we are going to load the data, which essentially just happened. To actually visualize it, we can use BP again, or head BP again, or let's say BP data. This is the correct term. So we do that, and as you can see here below, the data is loaded beautifully. Then we do the data conversion. We just do this right now, and this is also successfully done. Can delete again the head, and as you already know, we create a little title to make our script, our code, very orderly. So we do that, we call it BP, and then we can start to code. So we create a variable here with our little arrow symbol, which is very R specific, and then we are going to call the function process data. As you can see, it's this one. It's basically a BP package specific function. Then we are going to call, of course, our data, which is BP data, and then we can specify. We need to specify here our systolic pressure, diastolic pressure, pulse, and our time. So let's do that. This is the package specific, so we need to call, or we have to assign basically this variable, which is SBP, which is the required column name corresponding to the systolic blood pressure, as you can see stated in this yellow square. We are going to do that. We called it systolic pressure. Then we have to specify the DBP, which is the diastolic blood pressure. We call it diastolic pressure. Then we are going to name the date and time, which we just called time. And then we have the HR, not to be confused with human resources. Then the pulse, and we are already done. So we can basically print now the head of BP, and we can run this code. Let's save it first and run it. And now you can see the beauty of it. Let's pull up here the head of BP. Basically what you can see here is very orderly data, to sum it up. So what essentially happened here is we didn't just load the data from our Excel file and visualized it. We actually put it into this package, and the package itself processed the data automatically further. As you can see, for example, here we have time of day, for example, which essentially creates a new column based on date time, which is from our data directly, and it classifies it if it's in the morning, evening, or afternoon. Could also be night, but we never measured in the night, I think. And it also classified, for example, the blood pressure. So in which state, basically, or in which stage the systolic and diastolic pressure is here. And this is extremely, let's say, interesting, because now we can create, for example, a scatter plot. If you are interested in all of the, let's say, functionalities of this package, I put a link in the description below where you can see the whole documentation basically of this package. It's very interesting, and you can find a whole lot of different functions in this package. And here we have, for example, the function dp scatter, which creates a very cool scatter plot. I can show you here. So this is the scatter plot. Let's make it a little bit smaller. And here you can see all the data points, and basically the x-axis is the diastolic blood pressure and the y-axis is the systolic pressure. And you can see it's beautifully classified into basically those classes. Here the source is given Lee et al. So if you're a medical professional, you can check it out. And yeah, I think it's absolutely super cool to have such a classification. I think there is also a very interesting use case if you have a whole lot of blood pressure data of different patients, for example. So it's really cool and really helpful. Now I want to show you something else. It's, for example, the term BP report. And here most of the visualizations are just on one plot, and it takes a little while to create, but here we have it. We have basically here an overview of our blood pressure data. And of course, the scatter plot we just generated before, but here you have also, for example, the frequency of the systolic blood pressure readings and how many times in which category it occurred. And I think that's super cool. Here you can also see the frequency of the diastolic blood pressure and the week of the day, and it's visualized, super cool. And yeah, so thank you a lot for watching. If you liked the video, consider giving it a like. If you didn't like it, consider giving it a dislike. And if you are interested in content about R and Python in the future and coding in the industrial engineering environment in general, I highly recommend you to subscribe to my channel, and see you guys next time.